Hello Army, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into something genuinely fascinating that's been circulating within fan spaces, a professional vocal analysis breaking down exactly why Jimin appears to reach some of the highest, most difficult notes in BTS's entire catalog while looking remarkably relaxed doing it, especially when compared to how visibly effortful this same feat looks for some of his fellow vocal line members. Let's break down exactly what this analysis found, who conducted it, and why this specific technical breakdown resonates so strongly with both fans and casual observers of vocal performance more generally. So let's start with who actually conducted this analysis, because understanding the source here genuinely matters for appreciating the credibility behind this specific breakdown. This analysis comes from Ben Tapia, a Chilean musician and sound engineer who's built a substantial following of over 550,000 people on TikTok specifically around this kind of detailed, technical vocal analysis content. This isn't simply a casual fan offering their personal opinion about who sounds best within a group. This is someone with genuine professional audio engineering and musical training, applying that technical expertise specifically to analyzing and explaining vocal performance at this granular, mechanically informed level. Let's talk about the specific content that sparked this particular analysis, because understanding the source material helps frame exactly what he was working with. Tapia's breakdown was built around a live performance video of the song Normal, comparing the vocal performances of all four members within BTS's vocal line, Jin, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, specifically examining how each of them approached and executed the song's most demanding, highest-pitched moments during that particular live performance. Let's get into the core finding that's generated so much conversation, because this is genuinely the heart of what makes this analysis so compelling. According to Tapia's breakdown, while all four members are capable of reaching that same specific melodic peak within the song, Jimin's particular ability to reach those highest notes stood out specifically because of how relaxed and effortless his approach appeared compared to his fellow vocalists tackling that exact same vocal challenge. Let's think about the specific analogy Tapia used to explain this difference, because it's genuinely one of the more clever, accessible ways I've seen this kind of vocal technique difference explained to a general audience. He compared the difficulty of reaching this particular note to the physical challenge of jumping over a 1-meter-high obstacle. According to his explanation, while several of the other vocal line members essentially need to take a genuine leap, a visible, effortful jump, to clear that same height, Jimin can reach that identical height without needing to actually jump at all, essentially clearing the same bar through what looks like considerably less visible physical effort. Let's really sit with why this specific analogy works so well for explaining vocal technique to audiences who might not have deep technical musical training themselves. Anyone can intuitively understand the difference between someone straining to clear an obstacle through a genuine, effortful jump, versus someone who simply steps over that same obstacle with minimal visible exertion. Applying that same intuitive physical understanding to vocal technique makes this genuinely technical concept, the difference between straining for a note versus naturally reaching it, immediately accessible to a general audience, without requiring deep prior knowledge of vocal pedagogy or musical theory. Let's talk about what this specific difference actually means from a technical vocal perspective, based on general vocal training principles that help contextualize what Tapia was likely observing and describing. When a vocalist has to visibly strain or push to reach a particular note, that typically indicates that note sits right at or near the upper limit of their comfortable vocal range, requiring additional physical effort, breath support, and muscular engagement to actually produce that pitch accurately. When a vocalist instead reaches that same note with minimal visible effort, that typically suggests that particular pitch actually sits more comfortably within their natural vocal range, allowing them to produce it with considerably more ease and vocal freedom. Let's think about the broader implications of what this specific finding suggests about Jimin's individual vocal range and natural vocal tendencies compared to his fellow vocal line members. If he's genuinely able to reach these same challenging high notes with less visible strain compared to his bandmates, that suggests his natural, comfortable vocal range likely extends higher than some of the other members, meaning notes that might sit right at the absolute upper limit for someone else could actually fall more comfortably within his own natural vocal placement. Let's also touch on the genuinely charming, long-standing inside joke within BTS that Tapia specifically referenced as part of his broader analysis. According to this breakdown, Suga has apparently made comments over the years suggesting that the group's songs tend to be pitched so high specifically because of Jimin, essentially implying that whoever writes or produces the group's vocal melodies knows they can push the highest notes further because Jimin can comfortably handle that range, even if that same pitch placement creates additional challenges for some of the other vocal line members. Let's think about why this specific inside joke adds such a delightful, humanizing layer to what's otherwise a fairly technical piece of vocal analysis. It suggests that this dynamic, Jimin's particular ease with these high notes, isn't simply something external observers or vocal analysts have noticed from the outside. This is something the members themselves have apparently joked about and acknowledged internally for quite some time, suggesting this particular vocal characteristic has been a recognized, established part of how the group thinks about and approaches their own vocal arrangements over the years. Let's also spend some time discussing why this kind of detailed, professionally informed vocal analysis tends to resonate so strongly with fans, beyond just simple appreciation for Jimin's specific vocal abilities. There's something genuinely satisfying about having a long-standing, somewhat intuitive fan observation that Jimin seems to handle high notes with particular ease, validated through actual professional, technically informed analysis from someone with genuine audio engineering credentials. It transforms what might otherwise simply be subjective fan appreciation into something with genuine technical, expert-backed credibility. Let's think about the broader context of vocal range and vocal type classifications within the group more generally, because understanding this broader framework helps contextualize exactly what makes Jimin's specific vocal characteristics so notable within this particular analysis. Within vocal music more broadly, individual singers naturally have different areas of their overall vocal range where they can produce sound with the most ease, power, and natural resonance, typically referred to as their vocal sweet spot or area of greatest vocal comfort. Based on this analysis, Jimin's particular vocal sweet spot appears to extend comfortably into that higher register that requires considerably more visible effort for at least some of his fellow vocal line members to access. Let's also touch on why this specific characteristic has proven so valuable for BTS's overall musical arrangements and vocal distribution throughout their extensive catalog. Having a vocalist capable of comfortably and naturally reaching particularly high notes gives songwriters and producers considerably more flexibility when constructing vocal melodies and harmonies, allowing them to push certain sections of a song into higher registers specifically because they know they have someone within the group capable of executing that range effectively and naturally, rather than needing to keep every vocal line within a more conservative, universally comfortable range. For the entire vocal team. Let's think about what this specific analysis might reveal about broader patterns we've observed throughout Jimin's career regarding his vocal performance and reception more generally. Throughout BTS's entire discography, there's been this consistent pattern of him being specifically assigned some of the group's most technically demanding, high-register vocal moments, precisely because of this established natural capability within that particular part of the vocal range. Let's also spend some time discussing the broader significance of this kind of detailed vocal technique analysis specifically emerging from a professional source with genuine audio engineering credentials, rather than simply casual fan commentary or reaction content. Having someone with Tapia's specific professional background and substantial following specifically choose to dedicate this level of detailed technical analysis to Jimin's vocal performance represents genuinely meaningful validation from within the broader music production and vocal analysis community, extending well beyond just the existing dedicated BTS fanbase into a broader audience genuinely interested in vocal technique and performance analysis as its own area of interest. Let's think about the broader pattern this specific analysis fits within, regarding the increasing amount of professional, technically informed content specifically examining and celebrating various aspects of BTS's individual and collective musical abilities. We've discussed previously how professional publications like Billboard have specifically highlighted Jimin's choreographic leadership and stage presence throughout various stops on this current touring cycle. This vocal analysis represents a similarly professional, technically grounded form of recognition, specifically focused on the vocal and musical dimension of his overall artistry rather than performance or visual presentation specifically. Let's also touch on what this specific vocal characteristic might mean for how fans continue appreciating and understanding Jimin's overall vocal artistry moving forward, given this additional technical context around exactly why certain performances or specific vocal moments tend to stand out as particularly impressive. Understanding the actual technical reasoning behind why something sounds or looks effortlessly impressive often deepens appreciation for that specific skill, moving beyond simply enjoying the surface-level result toward genuinely understanding and appreciating the underlying technical mastery that makes that result possible. Let's think about the broader implications of this specific analysis for how we think about vocal comparison and vocal hierarchy discussions that often occur within fan communities more generally. Rather than simply ranking vocalists against each other in a purely subjective, preference-based way, this kind of technically grounded analysis offers a more objective, mechanically informed framework for understanding specific vocal strengths and characteristics, in this case, specifically highlighting Jimin's particular comfort and ease within the higher end of his vocal range compared to how that same range might present for other vocalists within the same group. Let's also spend some time discussing why this specific finding about ease and comfort within a particular vocal range matters so much within professional vocal assessment more broadly, beyond just the specific context of comparing Jimin to his bandmates. Vocal coaches and professional vocal analysts generally consider ease and lack of visible strain to be significant positive indicators of healthy, sustainable vocal technique, since straining or pushing to reach notes outside your natural comfortable range can potentially create additional strain and risk of vocal fatigue or injury over an extended touring or performing career. Let's think about what this specific technical observation might suggest about Jimin's broader vocal health and sustainability throughout his ongoing career, particularly given everything we've discussed throughout this entire comeback year regarding the physically demanding touring schedule he's continued maintaining. If his particular vocal technique allows him to access these challenging high notes with genuine ease rather than significant strain, that potentially bodes well for his continued vocal health and sustainability throughout the remainder of this extensive touring cycle and beyond. Let's also touch on the broader cultural significance of this kind of detailed vocal analysis specifically originating from a Chilean creator, adding this genuinely international dimension to the broader conversation around BTS's vocal artistry. This kind of cross-cultural, professionally informed engagement with the group's musical craft speaks to just how far their audience and critical engagement has extended globally, well beyond just their core Korean or English-speaking fanbases into genuinely international, professionally credentialed music analysis communities. Let's think about how this specific analysis connects to the broader pattern we've documented throughout this entire comeback year regarding continued professional and expert recognition of various aspects of Jimin's individual artistry and skill. We've discussed his choreographic leadership being specifically highlighted by Billboard, his stage presence and vocal performance receiving specific praise from major American publications like the Boston Globe, and now, this detailed technical vocal analysis from a professional sound engineer specifically examining and celebrating his particular vocal capabilities. Each of these different data points continues building toward this increasingly comprehensive picture of genuine, technically grounded professional recognition across multiple different dimensions of his overall artistry. Let's also spend some time thinking about what kind of additional content and discussion this specific vocal analysis might continue generating, given how much positive attention it's already received across social media platforms. Given the genuinely accessible, engaging way Tapia explained this particular technical concept through that jumping analogy, it wouldn't be surprising to see this specific analysis continue circulating and generating discussion, potentially even inspiring similar technical breakdowns examining other specific aspects of the group's collective and individual vocal artistry going forward. Let's wrap up by recapping everything we've discussed today regarding this genuinely fascinating professional vocal analysis. Chilean musician and sound engineer Ben Tapia, who has built a following of over 550,000 people on TikTok around detailed vocal analysis content, specifically examined a live performance of BTS's song Normal, comparing the vocal execution of all 4 vocal line members during the song's most demanding high-note moments. His analysis specifically found that while all 4 members can technically reach that same melodic peak, Jimin does so with noticeably less visible strain and effort compared to his fellow vocalists, comparing the difference to the distinction between someone needing to jump to clear an obstacle versus someone who can simply step over that same height with considerably less physical effort. This finding connects to a long-standing, playful inside joke within the group itself, with Suga having reportedly noted over the years that the group's songs tend to be pitched particularly high specifically because of Jimin's comfortable vocal range in that register. This entire story really does illustrate something genuinely meaningful about the depth and technical sophistication of ongoing professional and expert engagement with BTS's individual and collective vocal artistry, extending well beyond simple subjective fan preference into genuinely credentialed, technically informed analysis and appreciation. It's exactly this kind of detailed, professionally grounded recognition that continues adding meaningful additional layers to our broader understanding and appreciation of Jimin's specific artistic capabilities throughout this remarkable comeback era. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. If you enjoyed this breakdown of this fascinating professional vocal analysis, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update like this one in the future. Drop a comment down below letting me know what you think about this specific technical explanation, and whether you've noticed the same pattern of Jimin appearing particularly relaxed and comfortable during some of the group's most demanding high-note moments throughout their extensive catalog. As always, thank you for being here, thank you for your continued support, and I'll see you in the next video.